Okay, recording started my end.
Cool. Oh, that's good.
Well,
Should
shall we kick
we
in?
should we start formally?
Let's do it.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the stable of misfits. We've got a interesting dimension this morning because our host, Mike Ebert, is now going to be a guest. So I'm his step in this evening. So welcome on the Halloween evening to Mike Ebert.
Thanks, Joey, and it's lovely to see your face over there in France. So this is being done by some huge technology out there.
Yes, we are cutting edge here. Microsoft Teams only been out for about 13 years now, but yeah, we're a little bit slow on the uptake here in South Australia. Thanks for coming on, Mike, and it's great to interview you because you've been doing a great job of interviewing others. So how about we just start about Mike Ebert, the person, if we can, before we get into your exceptional racing career. Um, so, Mike, give us a little bit of introduction around you. Like, how old are you? What do you do? Where do you live?
How about we start off when I was a young fella? I was born in Alice Springs back in 1970. So my oldies decided to move from Loxton on the Riverland. Um, Dad actually he got offered a barber shop in Alice Springs, just finishing barbering apprenticeship in Loxton, and Mum was a couple of year out teacher, and they decided on a whim, they were having a barbie at someone's house, and the lady that was there said, "Oh, I've got a barber shop in Alice Springs if you want to come and run it, Jerry." And Dad had to make a decision to Alice Springs, which is, the centre of Australia. And back in the 70s, Alice Springs was pretty rough and ready. So Dad went up, and then Mum caught a plane with me in her belly with about 2 weeks to spare, and born in Alice Springs in 1970. Seems like a long time ago. And I stayed in Alice for almost 21 years. That was broken up a little bit because I went to America for a year as a student exchange, which was just incredible. And then started working at Ansett, which was an airline back in the day when there was TAA and Ansett, and worked in reservations for a while. And then I started to train as a air hostie, Joey,
Did you really?
and the training was great. And I was about to start my career as a hostie, and that day I was about to fly to Melbourne and do an Adelaide Melbourne run, and the airlines stopped flying. There was a pilot strike, and
Ah,
everything stopped flying in Australia. So, because I was one of the last to be hired as a hostie, I was the first one to be let go, which was a bit of a smack for the
ah,
ego because at that stage I thought I was
yeah.
a bit of a good looking rooster. Anyway, I that's where our path probably got a bit closer to crossing because I ran away from Alice Springs with my tail between my legs to come to Adelaide with a good mate of mine, and turned up on the front doorstep of the University of South Australia to become a PE teacher because I always wanted to be a PE teacher, but I didn't realise you had to apply to go to uni. I just thought you turned up. So I fronted up, and a guy called Jack Halbert, who ran the uni at the time, he let me in and sat me down and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I want to be a PE teacher." And he said, "You got to apply, mate. Hey, have you ever heard of an ATAR?" It's like, "Nah, I don't know about an ATAR." And he said, "Oh, well, all right, we might be able to do something for you." And there was another guy just on the same day who was sitting next to me waiting for Jack Albert and Gav Hirsch, and he was from Borough, and he was the same. He just turned up too. So there
Two
were two
country
of us.
boys. Go and
Jack's
walk
like,
about.
man, yeah. Jack's like, all right, well, you're going to have to study. So we had to do liberal studies with all the artsy people, and
Ah,
art and PE, they did not mix. That was like oil and water. So there were these two PE jocks sitting in with all the you know art teachers in their black gear and their bloody earrings through their eyebrows, and of course most phys editors were pretty conservative back then, so we just had our trackies on or our footy shorts. So the art teachers hated us and we didn't really like them. But we ended up, got through liberal studies and now been a teacher for what, 25 years or something.
25 years, nice work. So you're a secondary PE teacher, and that's where we met. We actually taught for a little while at St Ignatius College. I was an absolute greenhorn rookie, and you took me under my wing. So yeah, great times. So now you're teaching down McLaren Vale way. Tell me about that, and you're living down that way as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I've taught at a place called Tatachilla, which is a big college down here with about 1,200 kids. Um, I was teaching until probably 3 years ago, and life took a different turn. So now I'm counselling kids and parents, just yeah, 3 days a week. Push the boat off the beach a couple of days a week, and
Yeah.
life's changed significantly.
So you better give us the quick version as well. You're actually a living health miracle at the moment, breaking many health rules. Do you want to give us a quick summary on your health status?
Yeah, yeah, I'm happy to. Look, I don't think I'm anything special. Many of us, face sitting down in front of a doctor and being told we have cancer, and that was me 3 years ago. It sort of turned up. I was training for an Ironman, which is like a triathlon, and and I had a bit of a pain in my back. I thought I'd strained a muscle. So I ended up in the physio first. He said, I'll go to the doctors. So I went to the doctors and they took some blood. And then, yeah, I got a call pretty much straight away to say, oh, you better come back in. So I went in thinking, oh, whatever, got an ingrown toenail, I don't know. And the doctor actually was a mum of one of the girls that I taught at school.
Okay.
So she knew me already, and she's like, Mike, you've got cancer. And I reckon that's all I heard from that meeting, and talking to other people that have been told this. They tell me the same sort of story, that once you hear that word, I don't know why, psychologically, I think we just close down and shut off to most of the other information, because that's a hard thing to sort of conceptualize in your life. So anyway, I come home, told Donna, my wife, and then we went back in and had another conversation with the doctor, and they probably gave us a lot more information. But prior to going in, I stupidly got on Google and looked up my symptoms. My cancer is called multiple myeloma, which
Yeah.
attacks your bone marrow. And of course, I look it up on Google, and Google says you'll be dead in a year
Yep.
or two.
Hmm.
And yeah, if anyone out there ever gets told you got cancer, don't look at Dr. Google. It's the worst thing you can do.
Well, I must admit, I did exactly the same when you told me, and when I think I had a little cry in the corner after reading that. But yeah, I mean, we can joke that you're a medical miracle, but really, for your type of cancer, to be as healthy as you are at this stage, sure, it is a fantastic and amazing effort by you. And obviously, your body has an ability to, well, probably I'd say a rare ability compared to many people who get told that to fight the cancer and keep it at bay, because you're an amazingly healthy person now. You're still running. I mean, what did you do last week with your daughters? You did a half marathon in
Uh,
Melbourne, did you?
yeah, we did the Melbourne half marathon. That was really good. Um, and my 22-year-old actually run her first half marathon. So that was pretty awesome to be around for that and see her finish. So yeah, it was exciting.
Yeah. So you are a fit and healthy specimen. So that's a credit to you, Mike. And obviously you do have something great going on inside your body to keep the cancer at bay. So long may it continue, because we have many more podcasts to do and many more
Uh,
country cups to win. So
Yeah, well, I think medicine is certainly pretty fantastic nowadays. A few years ago, maybe that diagnosis, of 2 years probably would have been correct. But now, I had a stem cell transplant, which is sounds pretty amazing, but it's actually not that. Well, it's amazing science, but the actual process is probably not as exciting as what it sounds, what the title sounds. And there's some amazing doctors and researchers out there, so good on them.
No, that's great. Well done. You did mention your kids, and you haven't mentioned your kids. Maybe even your wife might even get a mention here, but do you want to just give us a quick wrap on your family?
Yep. So I just waved goodbye to my wife. She's walking out the door. It's now 9 o'clock as we're recording this PM, and she's going out to play netball with one of my daughters. I've got three girls, so Tyler, Matilda, and Tessa. They are all legends, or fantastic in their own right, and really great at things. I couldn't be prouder of each of them. So Tyler's studying now, studying psychology. Matilda is studying fashion, and she's a real creative. She did up a combi, 75 combi.
Yeah.
Actually, Matilda got that love from you, Joe. And I remember as a little one, she used to be besotted by you.
Well, I
And
did
then we
drive a
got
combi
Tess.
for those people that don't know. So that's the background. So I did have a split screen combi for many years. I drove around when I was a teacher. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
yeah, it was
inspired
great.
her and
Great.
me. So I've got a combi sitting out in my driveway too, all because of
Yeah,
you, I think.
I did get Mike into the Volkswagen club. So you've had a few Volkswagens since we've known. Oh no, probably I've had a few as well.
Well, I'm not sure if it's appropriate to tell the story of how I got your first one, but for the listeners, I think it's a really good one. So
Ask
Joey
us that
calls
one
me
over
one
a
day.
beer at the pub at the next race meeting. Yeah.
Joey calls me one day. Hey, Ebes, I got this VW 69 bug convertible. It's beautiful. I was like, yeah, that's great. He goes, you want to come and have a look? So I go and have a look. He's like, I said, oh, mate, if you ever find one of these. Anyway, a week later, I'm at his birthday party, and I say, oh, I'd really love to buy one of those. And Joe's wife, Keely, leans across the table and she goes, Joe's got one you can have now. Turns out that Joey had bought it for his previous girlfriend and then got it handed back
Yeah.
20 years later.
I didn't actually buy it off my previous girlfriend. I bought it off a car yard, but yeah, or what did previously belong to her. So yeah, a little bit too much baggage there for Keely. So um, let's move on. Donna, your wife is the reason why you're involved in the horse syndicate. So I actually did reach out to all of my good mates, thinking I'm going to get on this journey with all of my good mates. And I sent you a message. Do you want to just talk around you receiving that message and your response and your first thoughts?
Yeah, well, it's a bit like Shane shared in our last episode. I was sitting on the couch and bing, Joey Pedler. Oh, Joe's written us a message, Donna. Anyway, so I read it out and like, Joe has asked us if we want to join a horse syndicate. And I had no idea what a horse syndicate even was. I was like, nah, fuck, we don't want to do that. We'll just delete that, shall we? And Donna jumped up and she's like, no, we want to go in it. We want to be in that syndicate. So anyway, it turned out that we, one payment a year, which is pretty reasonable, and we've had a lot of fun and success.
That's good. Well, I'm really glad you said yes. Driving up together to the Corn Cups, one of my great life highlights, to be there that day. So no, that's good. Really glad to have you on board. What have you enjoyed around being involved in the syndicate? You've obviously taken it to the next level, because you've created a podcast. But what have you enjoyed about it?
I love the human stories that come out of this syndicate, and probably every syndicate, although I've never been in one, so I don't know, but just the gathering of 30 almost random people and bonding them through something. So it's a credit to you for coming up with that. I know you're not the first to come up with a syndicate, but that whole idea of a place where people can go, not know anyone, else in the syndicate, and then feel comfortable and share this ultimate joy, of a win, um, I think is a really powerful thing. So I like the syndicate. I'm not much of a gambler. I don't really know much about horses, but I really love that idea that you can sit with someone and have a chat, and all of a sudden you almost become part of their story. So I think that's moving.
Yeah. No, that's great, and credit to you. You've taken that to the next level of sharing that. So by the podcast. So well done. We've designated. Well, I have designated you as the marketing manager. Do you want to tell us about the? You've had some amazing success with Racing SA to assist on our marketing. Do you want to just share some of the efforts you've gone to there? People probably don't know that,
Oh
but I'm
well,
sure the syndicate would enjoy to hear
the
that.
donuts that the donuts that Racing SA have provided for tonight's episode are wonderful, aren't they? Absolute donuts. I have called Racing SA so many times, and I tell you what, the marketing people at Racing SA have more meetings than any other occupation I've ever come across. Or every time I call, they're in a meeting at least. The it's the ultimate fob off, isn't it?
But you have given them some great ideas, and you've gone to them on a few things, and they've created some. You've gone straight, got to the top, and they've spoken it up and delivered not much. So if you're listening to this Racing SA marketing, this man is an untapped connection for you to bring some of the great stories of people being involved in syndicates. So please give him a call. I'm sure that we might send them a copy of this podcast and fire them up a bit, Mike. What do
Uh,
you think?
to their credit, I probably got them on spring racing carnival or whatever it was. But yeah, no, I'd love to hear from you at some stage if you ever want to give us a bell.
It has made me think a lot since we had a phenomenal streak early in the syndicate, winning 5 out of 6 races. We won 3 country cups in a row, and now as we've gone through our what I'd say our slump, and we're always going to have a slump, right? It's made me reflect, and I don't know if you have reflected back on just how good we had it early. But for any horse to win 3 country cups is remarkable, and I'm surprised that they're not interested in that story. But I think it's going to be a genuine challenge for us to ever do that again. What are your thoughts?
Well, Netties you've been investing in lately, it's definitely going to be a long shot.
Mate, yeah, yes, yes. Yeah, we've managed to pick up the Chosen Blonde saga has been a flop at best. Although I do have an update for you on that. I don't know if this is the forum to give it, but um,
Go on.
Wayland's found
It'll
something.
encourage more listeners.
Wayland's found something with the horse. We've sent it down to a horse doctor in Adelaide. He reckons he's found a key problem in the joint. They're about to inject it with something which T says, and I'm not even not familiar with, but it's a special lubricant for the joint, and he reckons it'll be we'll have this thing back up and running, and uh, if he's a genius, we'll get a win before Christmas in Port Lincoln.
Gee, well, there you go. You heard it first, punters. Get on Chosen Blonde next time it shows.
I was keen to meet the doctor because I might need a few of those same injections in a few joints in a few years' time. I reckon. I
Just
reckon
the
there's probably a
hips
few
and
guys,
knees, I think.
few guys in our syndicate that'd line up for that as well. I reckon.
Yeah, I
I'm not
reckon
sure if it'd
so.
sort hamstrings out for Sam Nass to bring him back to his footy career, but anyway, you never know.
Yeah, I'm not sure anything will bring me back to a footy career.
Yeah, they know you've probably had enough injections into you over the last 3 or 4 years, so you probably don't need any more.
I think
Um,
so. Yeah, yeah.
tell me around. I'm just interested in just dropping back into your health journey. How does that change your life, and what is your different perceptions on life now, having had that experience, and how do you change things, and yeah, probably just interested in you sharing that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at first, I rejected any notion that I was sick. So I still maintain just a really heavy training load. I'd go to work full time. I'd rush home. I'm lucky I live about 2 minutes from the place I work, but I would rush home at lunchtime to get chemo and then rush back to work to teach the kids for lesson 6 and 7. And the chemo nurse, I had chemo at home coming out, and they were amazing, those people. Anyway, my nurse just kept saying, you can't keep doing this, and I was doing hair falling out, and that treatment makes you put on weight. So although I was still training like a madman, I was putting on weight and just fluid weight. And in the end, the nurse basically said, you got to slow down. This is not good. And I probably didn't right up until I actually had the real full-on chemo that put me into hospital for, I don't know, 14 or 15 days. And it wasn't until, I haven't shared this with many people, it wasn't until it was about 6 days in after they give me the real heavy chemo and then they give you the stem cells. Anyway, I was really, really crook. So I'd lost all my hair, I was blown up, I just looked really sick. But I refused. Day I would go for a walk. And my nurse, before I had any of this, she said to me, I know people like you, and you don't do this well. So she said, every morning you have to get up and you have to have a shower and you have to put on street clothes. Don't get into a hospital gown or else you'll never get out of it. She said, get your street clothes on. Even if you crawl back into bed and it's the only thing you do for the day, that's what I want you to do. And I stuck to it. There was probably one day where I just couldn't get to the shower. But anyway, back to the other story. So this is 6 days into that sort of stuff, and the nurse come to get me. I got a blood infection in my heart, and things were pretty bad. And they had a wheelchair there for me, and I was like, no, fuck, I'm not getting in that. And they said, oh, okay then, because they knew. So I got about 2 steps down the corridor, and I just couldn't walk anymore. So I jumped in the wheelchair. And I remember, because the chemo ward is, like, let's say it's on level 6. So we had to go down to almost like general check-in. And they were pushing me past this family that were walking the other way. And the family were looking at me like, oh, this guy's going to die soon. That's a perception I had. They all looked at me with that look, that you give someone who's
I
really,
had that
really
look in
sick.
their eyes. Is that what I'm saying? And looking at
Absolutely.
you, you could
It
just
was
feel it.
almost like they were looking, yeah, thinking, is he really dead or is he? And my head was slumped and I just couldn't, it was terrible. And at that stage, I was like, man, this is, I gotta do something here. Yeah, and I think that was a real kick in the bum to tell me that I actually was sick and I couldn't keep putting it off anymore. And then I went into a bit of a slump for, I don't know, few days. And they tell you you're going to, it's pretty hard, tough stuff. Where I just couldn't have anyone in. I couldn't open the blinds. It was too blinding headaches and all that stuff. Anyway, as that started to come good, I started to get back up and, walk, and they released me to come home, which was wonderful because hospitals are busy and traumatic places, I reckon.
Yeah.
And got home and came home to a house where all of the stuff, school I work at, put in money and supplied meals and, just getting back into humanity. And I'd actually people sort of half counselling them in my early days. And I used to say to them, you know what, if you're diagnosed with cancer, you sell everything, you buy a caravan and you drive around Australia and you live your last days. Yet when I was told I had cancer and I was really sick, that was the last thing I wanted to do.
Okay.
I actually wanted to get back to work and I wanted to be with the people that I really cared about. And it was bizarre.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that gave me really good clarity. Like, I've always loved my job and loved being with people and students. But what that did for me was it said, actually, this is not a job. This is something you love and you would be at even if they didn't pay you,
Yeah.
even if
Yeah.
you just volunteered. And so that's changed my whole perspective on school. And I couldn't go back to teaching because there were too many germs around. So I became a counsellor, retrained myself because I wanted to be in that environment. And yeah, I've ended up kids and families for 3 years and being allowed into some pretty traumatic lives and things happening. And I still cherish every time a kid books an appointment because it means they trust and they're willing to share and they have confidence that you're at least going to listen and help.
Yeah. What a
Yeah,
great
so it's
thing, mate.
changed my perspective
What,
in a big way.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what about in how you live your day-to-day life and your perception on kind of what's important, I suppose? Like what are some of the
Yeah.
things you look back and laugh about now and go, oh mate, I thought that was important and it's actually not. And now I
Yeah.
don't. Now I've got rid of it from my life, or I don't even care about it. And what about some of
Yeah.
those things?
Well, I would like to say work because because I love what I do. I think just meeting timelines that someone else has put on you or taking on other people's, like, and I don't mean this about the counselling bit, I mean the people that look at life from a negative lens and they want to put their shit on you and they want you to reflect their negativity. And I think now I'm much better at saying to them, come on, life's pretty good. What's up? And I'm lucky because I only work 3 days a week. So Wednesday is my Friday. And I let everyone know that at work.
Oh,
And
you've been
I can
great
see
work
some of
colleague.
them. Yeah, but I'm like, hey, it's Friday for me today. I'm out in the boat tomorrow because I bought myself a little boat. And yeah, so I don't take things seriously. Oh, sorry, I don't take many things seriously that aren't worth worrying about anymore.
Yeah. And that's good. Yeah, I'm sure you piss everyone off on Wednesday, letting them know about that. So, um,
Oh, they know. Like I supply the staff with squid, so most of them are pretty happy with that.
you are the local squid fisherman. Where are you? Where are you
Yeah,
going out? Where are you launching your tinny from?
beach. We went out today. Actually, got a few whiting for the first time ever down
You
here,
got
so that was
whiting.
great.
You've actually become a
Yeah,
whiting fisherman in Adelaide, mate. You actually are a real
a
fisherman.
mate of mine, a mate of mine's a whiting fisherman. I just was on the boat with him.
Well, hopefully you pinched his spot to go back to when I'm on your boat.
Yeah, yeah, it's all in my memory.
Uh,
Be careful, my 16 listeners. So he'll pick up on this.
well, yeah. So if anyone's keen on a squid fishing adventure, Thursdays and Fridays, Mike's available to be booked in. Just check the wind conditions. He'll launch you off the Aldinga Beach or thereabouts.
Yeah,
Nice work.
absolutely.
What are some of the other
Yep.
things that you're filling in your time with on those 4 days a week where you don't have to work, Mike?
Um, I don't know. We drive. My youngest is still just 16, so she's just getting her license. So we do a lot of driving around and dropping off. She's a little runner and doing
Yeah.
pretty well. We we run some B
So
and B's.
when you say that she's doing pretty well, she's actually a state slash national level runner, isn't she? Trying,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
with
So
aspirations of being professional.
yeah, yep. She hopes to go to the States next year in 2 years' time for a scholarship. Well, we're in Melbourne last week for the Melbourne Marathon Festival, and there were 5,000 in the 5K, and she tells me, Dad, I'm going to win this. I was like, bullshit. No, no. There's a lot of people in this, and the little bugger won it.
So she
So,
won first of 5,000 people in the 5K run.
female, first
Female.
female.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
ninth overall.
she goes all right.
Yeah, yeah, she's doing pretty well. Yeah, but all three of my girls are doing fantastically, and in their chosen things. So it's she's good at that, but then the others are good at other stuff.
So have you thought around taking the skills that you have with helping your daughter to be great into horse training?
Nah. I did want to tell you that my entry into horses, and Dad reminded me of this the other day, that when I was a little bloke in Alice Springs, as I said, Dad's a barber, so
Yeah.
Dad's cutting this bloke's hair, and the bloke says, "Look, mate, you've cut my hair 3 times, I haven't paid you, I don't have any money, but I've got a horse. Do you want it for 3 haircuts?"
Yeah.
It's Alice Springs. Anything can happen in Alice Springs. So Dad goes, "Oh, yeah, I guess. So, yeah, I've ridden a horse. So, yeah, I'll have a horse." So the horse gets delivered, and we end up with this horse. Anyway, someone else comes over and goes, "Yeah, that horse, that looks like a good horse. I reckon you should put that in the Alice Springs races, Jerry." Dad's like, "That's a bloody good idea." And they say, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Because Dad cut everyone's hair, so he knew everyone. And they go, "Yeah, yeah, we can organise it for you." Anyway, so the horse gets to the track and the bloody horse wins. Everyone's going, "That horse, Jerry, that's amazing, that horse." Apart from one bloke who steps out of the crowd and goes, "That's my fucking horse. That was stolen from my property."
No way.
Jerry Ebert, you arsehole. Dad's like, "No, no, no." Anyway, it all got sorted. The horse got back to its original owner. But yeah, it had been stolen and given to Jez.
Did he get to keep the price money to cover the haircuts?
Oh, who knows? There were so many stories like that. He got given opals for haircuts. It was crazy. Anyway, but,
That's
he
classic.
made lots of good friends through haircutting, and he still does it down on Victor Harbour Golf Course,
Does he?
or McCracken Golf Course. He's got his own little group of blokes who drop over for Jerry haircuts.
Oh, that's
And I
classic.
reckon he's one of the only barbers you sit down and he asks you, what sort of haircut do you want? Doesn't matter what you say, you get the same one every time. It's just worth the question. Big
Awesome.
shout out to Jerry, though.
Well
13th
done,
listener.
Jerry. That is a cracking story. Did he ever get any more horses, or is this actually only the second venture into horses for you?
This is my second venture into horses. Yeah,
Yeah.
my wife Donna has had a long history with horses, and probably best she tell the story. But as a little one, her dad used to run a book that wasn't quite legal, and people would ring, and she'd take the book, and she knew the odds, and she knew what to write down for her dad.
Oh, so he was a unofficial bookmaker.
Yeah, he was.
Nice. Well, that's classic. Well done, DC. Thanks for I call Donna DC. Thanks, DC, for encouraging Mike into this. And yeah, it's also great you haven't passed your betting interests on to Mike. He's a very careful punter, which is also great.
Well,
Um,
I started a TAB account or sports bet, whatever it is, and put a hungy in. I in $100. Anyway, I got $93 still in it.
that is a great effort. That is a
And
great
I
effort.
reckon
How
I've
long
only
ago
been
was it you
betting
put the
like
100 in?
$5 bets or whatever. Although corn, that was all cash, wasn't it?
This is true.
And we did all right in corn, so that was pretty good.
Mate, just tell us about Corn. So Corn was really your first foray to going to watching one of your racehorses ever, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
Brought
so
back
so
memories though, the red track and all that stuff,
so
from
tell,
Alice.
tell us
Um,
about your thoughts and impressions as a first time owner arriving. Like a race meeting like Corn is unique in itself. You've obviously been to
mm.
Morphettville as well, a month or so afterwards. But tell us your thoughts of Corn and your recollections of that.
Well, first of all, my recollection was us having a conversation and you saying, "Come on, let's drive to Corn," and me thinking, "What the fuck would I want to drive to Corn for?" Anyway, I knew that it was some just to drive with you for 3.5 hours there and 3.5 hours back. So that was good fun. And then as we got closer to Corn, the anticipation was starting to build because you were talking to people that, that were asking to put bets on and all that sort of stuff. and people are ringing you about the barrier, and I had no idea what the barrier and all this stuff. I didn't know that you could draw a bad barrier and end up not winning because of the barrier and stuff. And then when we got there, and I remember walking, I don't know if you remember, we were walking into the gates, and you're like, hey, we're owners. And I was going, yeah, we're owners. We're owners. We're here to see whaling. Anyway, whaling, I thought this whaling would be 65, 70, old school horse trainer. Walk in, and here's bloody Man Mountain whaling. Uh, so, telling us about the race, and then meeting little Alan Lai, the jockey. You were waltzing into the jockey ring. I still can't believe walk around into the jockey ring and start asking the jockey questions about how you're going to ride it, where you're going to put it. I'm thinking, man, imagine doing that with a rally driver or a Formula One driver.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty unique, all that, isn't it?
Yeah, and then when the horses actually were running, I can't believe the sound. I could just imagine being at war and the horses running towards you. That it's just thunderous with only 8 horses. So, with thousands, it'd be incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
true.
the noise got me, and then the jubilation after, like part of it, part of it, I thought, oh yeah, I'll just put on a bit of happiness when this thing runs across the line, whatever. And then it won, and I just lost it, and everyone lost it. We're all jumping around and hugging, wailing, and hugging each other. It's like, yeah, they're so good, holding up the cup. Ah, crazy, really good fun.
And we did carry on a bit as well, didn't we? But
Oh,
it
well,
was genuine.
Wayland's horses won what? Three
I reckon you
races
won
that
three
day,
that
three or
day.
four.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I reckon you won three that day.
yeah. So, we're all up and about because we were Wayland's best mate by the end of the day.
We hadn't met Whalen before then, but we were like, gonna invite him to our wedding by the end of the day. Uh, uh, but yeah,
No, that was a really good fun weekend.
yeah, we're getting filling the cup up at the bar and drinking out of the cup, and like we just won the AFL Premiership. I'm sure there's people thinking, who are these peanuts? Now,
Yeah.
at least I was dressed normal. Tell me what you're wearing.
Well, another Joe inspiration because I remember you got me into safari suits back 20 years ago. Anyway, so I've kept my safari suits. So I thought, I'll dress up in a safari suit and I'll take the pith helmet and I'll enter fashions on the field, thinking I might win. And the boys are
Oh,
pumping me up about, yeah, get up on stage. And I got up on stage, and no shit, people were walking out of Roger David, the David Jones collection.
mate,
I looked
they were
like an
looking out of a
absolute,
magazine, weren't they?
I looked like a tool bag standing there.
You look like
So
someone
then I
from the
had to try
90s
and
who was doing the
start the
dress
old
up.
pole dance just to get some votes.
Oh, we tried really hard. They had a short list to get down to four or three, and I tried to get the crowd vote, and but they didn't even have you in the short list to get you in. So
Nah.
if we got you to the crowd, we would have got you to win, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, I certainly wasn't the best dressed, but I was probably putting on the best act.
Yeah. So here we were drinking out of the cup, and you were drinking out of the cup in a safari suit with a safari helmet in your back pocket.
Yes, that's it. That's what I was saying. They must have thought, who is this tool bag from the city?
Yeah, well, the good thing is they probably don't know where you're from there. But yeah, it was. What about your other recollections? So was that what you were thinking? You obviously went to Morpheville, go for Frank ran, a month or so after, which was the other extreme for me. When you go to the country picnic meets, which we call them picnic meets, to the city racing, differences in all kinds of things there that you observed. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought Morphettville was stale. It just felt like um, it wasn't authentic. Like at least the country races, it felt authentic. People were cheering and yelling and giving high fives. And I guess at big city meets, maybe that happens as well. But it at the country meet, it was like everyone was embraced,
Yeah.
and everyone was celebrating people's wins. At the city meet, it seemed so isolated that a little group would cheer, and the rest of us, would be just standing around having a drink or whatever. It's more like yes, you want to be seen at the races as opposed to you want to see the races.
Yeah. And yeah, that's interesting for me. Um, is that's why I created this syndicate, is to win the country cups, because I think there's more of a journey and a fun thing in doing that, and it's a different challenge in itself, because that's actually one of the lowest level, as far as racing goes, to go win the corn, a race at corn, right? That's actually the lowest level in SA racing, those kind of picking meets. Not the cups. The cups are probably a bit higher, but it is a unique and a bit more of a journey and a fun thing to get around. So hopefully we can challenge for a few more of those and have a few more fun days. I think it'll be fun even if we don't win, and hopefully we can drag a few more people along and get a bit more organised before some next ones.
Yeah, well, I think, maybe this podcast, maybe, when you get back, people will feel like they may know a little bit more about others in the syndicate and therefore be willing to make the journey. Um, yeah, and then catch up for beer after. "Oh, I've heard your story." Or, I guess that movement of the heart stuff, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
if you feel like you know someone, then you'll go the extra mile for them. And
yeah.
and wouldn't it be good if we're all at something together?
Yeah. So the next few cups that we've got that we could run at. So Grinzinger Star is going to come back into work and try and run in a Port Lincoln Cup. So that could be one. If things go well, we could send it. He's still planning on looking at Alice Springs Cup as an option. So imagine if we
Oh,
go back to
imagine
your
it.
old hunting ground and pluck the silverware. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, and then after that, there's we'll be back to the depends on what happens with the Grinzinger. He's 9 years old now, but definitely we could do the Outback Cup circuit again of Port Augusta and Roxby and Corn, etc. So we'll just see how we go. And as we know, you need a lot of luck here, because nothing ever goes according to plan in racing.
seems that
Uh,
way.
so
Yeah, yeah.
well, thanks, Mike. Any last question that I haven't asked you that you would like to ask yourself?
That's a good question. No, I think we're pretty covered. It's probably the longest podcast we put together. And sorry everyone for the length. Maybe we'll cut it into two. Hey, Joey.
No,
Um,
we're all good. We're only a bit over
Good,
40
good.
minutes, so we'll be
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Well, look, I just thank you for pulling it together, because I think there's a huge amount of paperwork and stuff that goes into this that you do. And thanks to everyone that's putting their hands up to be interviewed, because, it takes a bit of courage. And I know a lot of people get a bit nervous about public speaking. So our next guest, I've been chatting to him, and he's been making some notes ready for it, which is fantastic. People are starting to take it a little bit serious,
Nice,
and
nice.
it's great to get their stories out. So I'm really looking forward to being involved in this for as long as it runs. If no one's listening, well, then we can it. If people keep listening, well, it could go on and take on, buddy, I don't know, Hamish and Andy.
I did see Donald Trump. He's the man that just interviewed him. He's the man that's killing it at the moment. So he's the one that you've got to aspire to be. You've got 4 days a
All right.
week to get it sorted, Mike. So
All right. Well, get on it.
all right, thanks, Mike. Appreciate the chat, and you're back as the co-host as of next round in. So thanks very much, Mike Ebert.
Good on you, Joey. Enjoy everything from done.
Right, I've just stopped the recording. So
Yeah, great.
hopefully that'll